what God has done for us is just amazing. And in the meantime, we were able to do some good works to help the people in Haiti.
You're listening to Wonderful Life with Tom Rohr. From Rogers to Bedford Falls, from Fayetteville to Pottersville, we're discovering how one person's life can have an effect on so many others. My guest today is Ronnie Hoyt. In 2007, St. Vincent de Paul Church of Rogers established a mission with the goal of prayer for the people of Haiti, to advance social justice formation for the people of St. Vincent de Paul, to provide education support for the children of Haiti, and to establish a St. Vincent de Paul team to oversee that ministry. That's a mouthful, Ronnie, but welcome.
It's great to be here, Tom. Thank you for having me this morning.
All right. Before we get into this mission work that you're involved in, why don't you start with talking a little bit about yourself and your family?
Sure, I'd love to. I grew up in a small farm in central Arkansas, and I'm one of 15 children. I'm number 12, and had the opportunity to go to a Catholic school from first grade through the 12th grade. And after that, I got an accounting degree at Arkansas Tech and spent my most of my career at Walmart at the home office. But about 7 or 8 years ago, I entered the diaconate program here in the Diocese of Little Rock and was ordained in 2013. And ever since that time, I've been here working at St. Vincent de Paul Church as the parish administrator. I'm married, have 5 wonderful children, 7 grandchildren. All of those my children and my grandchildren are all here in Rogers and a member of this church, and so it's wonderful to have my family, although it's not as large as I had when I was growing up, but it's wonderful to have them all here in Rogers with us.
Now that transition from working at Walmart to becoming a deacon and working here at the church, that seems like a pretty drastic change.
Yeah, for a couple of years, I was discerning what it was that God was wanting from me for the second half of my life. I know for the first half, it was just so busy just taking care of raising a family and providing for them. But a few years before I retired from Walmart, I started to feel like maybe God was asking me to do something else. I loved working at Walmart. I loved every minute of it. And so I kind of pushed it to the side, but it just kept nagging at me. So for a year, I took a leave of absence and was just a stay-at-home dad and did a lot of volunteer opportunities with the church and the Samaritan House and the jails and several other areas. And it was through that time that I felt that God was calling me to step aside, that my time at Walmart was not only to help provide for my family, but it was also preparing me for what he was going to ask me to do the second half of my life, which was dealing with different ministries within the church and trying to work on some of these social justice issues.
So I want to talk, specifically about some of the goals that you have set for the mission. But let's start with, how did the mission start? Was that an intentional thing for you, or you just don't really talk to too many people who are doing mission work out there? So why don't you tell us the story behind that?
Well, it's interesting. In about, I think it was like 2006, we had a seminarian here visiting here. That was his name is now Father Rick Nagel. He was a friend of our associate pastor at that time, Father Sean Wesley, and he was visiting Father Sean, and he had done some mission work at Haiti, and he had asked Father Sean if St. Vincent de Paul might be interested in providing some support. I didn't really know him at that time, and I wasn't involved with any social justice ministries here at the church at that time. But I do remember that we took up a collection at Mass the weekend he was here, and I think we raised about $6,000, and it was for the construction of a new school, which was going to cost $5,000 to construct. And so that's what happened. The school was constructed, teachers were hired, children started going to school, and I never heard anything about it until about 6 months later. I got a call from Father Sean, and he told me that the priest there, it's in Bombardopolis, Haiti, the priest in Bombardopolis, Father Cholet, was very concerned because we hadn't sent them any money to pay the teachers, and the teachers weren't getting paid, and so they were considering moving on to a different school where they would get paid to teach. And unfortunately, it was not our understanding that not only were we building the school, but we were also going to be responsible for the teachers' salaries, the school supplies for the kids, meals for the kids, school uniforms. We didn't have that understanding, but without that type of support, that school wasn't going to remain open. So I was still working at Walmart at the time and wasn't really doing much volunteering at all at the church. But I was a friend of Father Sean, and so he asked me and Alan Kilgore if we would try to figure out how we could bring that ministry alive here at St. Vincent de Paul. So Monsignor David Lesueur is our pastor, or was our pastor at the time, still is. So I set up a meeting with him to talk to him about it, and I told him, I said, hey, Monsignor, we need to do something. They're about to close down this school that we built in Haiti because they don't have enough money to support it. We need to do a collection or something for that. I'll never forget it because he told me, he goes, well, hang on just a minute. I don't even know anything what you're talking about. I've only been here 3 or 4 months, and I didn't know we had built a school. I don't know anything. Tell me more about it. And I'm like, well, I don't know anything about it. So I told him how Father Sean had called me, and because Father Sean was now in Eureka Springs Parish, and so he goes, well, who's the priest there? And I'm like, well, I have no idea. He goes, do you know anything about the people in Haiti? And I said, no, I don't. I don't know anything. I probably gave $20 to that collection. I really don't know anything. He goes, well, before we can go and ask the parish to support something that you know nothing about, I would suggest you do a couple of things. He said, the first thing I would suggest to you is learn about the social teachings of the church. He goes, until you can speak from the heart about the social teachings of the church, it's hard to ask people for money, especially for people that you don't even know. And the second thing he asked me to do is figure out a way to get to know the people in Haiti. And once I'd done those things, then I could possibly come back to him and ask for support. And, of course, my only goal was I just wanted to help Father Sean to get money to send down there. And I didn't. Monsignor asked me, he goes, do you love the people in Haiti? And I said, well, I don't know the people in Haiti. I would want to, I guess, but I don't know the people. He goes, well, when you fall in love with the people of Haiti, then you'll be ready to talk to the parish about it. So Alan and I got together and we talked about different things. We ended up scheduled a trip to go visit the people in Bombardopolis and the school and Father Cholet. And to his credit, Monsignor David went with me. And we took 5 other people, and we really got to know what their needs were and understand what their needs were. And it's interesting because when they first contacted us about needing support, I asked them how much they needed, and they said they needed $600 a month to pay the teachers, to give food to the kids. There was a total of about 2,100 kids that were in the program because there was 4 or 5 other smaller schools in the mountainside that they were needed support for. And although Monsignor wouldn't allow me to ask people, the very next month, a doctor from Missouri who I'd never met left a message saying that he wanted to donate Two, he heard we were doing some work on the Haiti mission, and he wanted to donate to it. And I said, sure. A few days later, I received a check. I never talked to him about an amount, and it was exactly $600. It was amazing how from that point on, even though it was a year before we actually asked the parishioners for any money in a collection, money came, because Monsignor did tell us after the trip, he goes, if you like, you can meet with different ministries of the church. You can teach them or talk to them about the social justice teachings of the church. You can talk to them about your experiences in Haiti, but you can't ask them for money. Your goal is to teach and to share your love for the people of Haiti with them. And, you know, here it is 10 or 12 years later, and now I can say I certainly love the people of Haiti. I cared for them back then, and I was moved by what I learned there, but I couldn't say I was really in love with them. And so over the years, it's certainly been a journey, but for that first year after we came back from the trip and talking to the different ministries through the grace of God, we received contributions from the different groups, from different individuals, where every month from the time of that trip in May of 2007, that we were able to make that payment of $600. And of course, since that time, it's grown tremendously. And now we have over 900 parishioners who are actively involved in the ministry or supporting them in financial ways.
That's a wonderful story, and you talk about God's grace, and you really see it, just driving everything there. So a couple questions. So prior to the initial contribution, was $6,000. What was the state? They had no school?
Bombardopolis is a village of about 40,000 people. It's in a mountainous area. They had a central school in downtown Bombardopolis, but the radius of the village is about 6 miles. And so what was happening is all of the kids had to walk to school. It only went to the 6th grade. Kindergarten through 6th grade kids had to walk some as much as 3 or 4 hours a day to the central school. When Father Cholet got there, he decided that was too dangerous for the kids. And so his idea was that instead of just having this central school there in the center of Bombardopolis next to the church, that there would be schools, grades, kindergarten through 3rd grade, spread out throughout the mountainous area. His goal was to have 11 1- to 2-room schools that would serve as a school during the week and as a church on Sunday. And so that's what we embarked upon after we got involved, is building, staffing, and providing for the salaries for the teachers to operate those mission schools in the mountainous areas. And over the last, I think right now we have 11 schools, of which 8 of them are serving also as a church on the weekends. They're not able to have Mass there every weekend. Every weekend they have it in the central church in Bombardopolis, the central area. But once every 6 weeks, the outlying churches are able to have Mass, and so Father goes and sees them once every 6 weeks. The weeks he's not able to get there, they have prayer services led by the lay ministers in each of the parish. So it's, the goal is, of course, the kids need to be educated, and we have the opportunity to provide that for them, but also to be formed in their faith. And so combining the schools into a house of worship is, the strategy that we embarked upon in 2007.
In your goals, you talk about social justice, and you mentioned social justice was a driving factor in your forming your relationship with this mission. Can you talk a little bit more specifically about what you mean when you say social justice?
I'll go back to when I took that year leave of absence, and I was trying to figure out what, God was wanting me to do. And I knew what I was wanting to do, and I wanted to stay at Walmart and work there, but I decided to take a year to try to discern what God might be calling me to do. And one of my volunteer opportunities was at the Samaritan House here in Rogers. And one of the things that we did there is we served lunch. I think they do it 4 days a week, but I did it on Wednesdays. Is for the homeless people in the community. Anyone is welcome to come there and have a hot lunch. And so I volunteered there on Wednesdays. And it's interesting the way it works there is the people come off the streets and we seat them at the table. And then the volunteers take their order, get their food, bring their food to them, bring their drinks to them. And so we operate it as restaurant style. And then we have the opportunity, if we choose, to sit down and eat with the people, or just sit down and have a discussion. And there was a lady there that she was a regular, and I got to know her over the several months that I volunteered there. And she was probably 85 years old, and but she was very wise, and I just loved hearing her stories. But one particular week when I sat down, she goes, "I don't know how to tell you this," she said, "but God has been talking to me, and he wants me to tell you something, and I haven't built up the courage to even talk to you about this." He goes, "But today I've decided that I'm going to tell you what God's asked me to tell you." And I thought, this is going to be interesting. And she goes, "I don't know why I'm telling you this, but God asked me to tell you that the gift that he's giving you, that he wants you to use, is the gift of mercy." I could hardly breathe when she told me that, because I had been the whole time that I was on this leave of absence discerning. That's the specific thing that I was asking God to share with me. What is the gift that I've been given that I wasn't using in a way that he wanted me to? So anyhow, that helped me see that that the beginning of social justice, the teaching of social justice, begins with love, as Monsignor David asked me to pray about, and encompasses mercy in how we share that love with others and care for others, and that is what Christ asked us to do. That's what Jesus did. That's the simple message that he gives to us. That's the reason why we spend our time here on earth preparing to love like God loves, so that we can live eternally with Christ. And so that, I guess, kind of got me jump-started into just learning more about what that means, what that means, and how you bring it to life and the community in which you live. You certainly don't have to go to Haiti to show love and mercy, but you have to do it simply because of your love for God and your love for others. And so, it involves for me a lot of prayer and a lot of just discussing with God, because I think social justice is not just doing good works. We all do good works, and we all have different motivations for doing the good works. Is that what Jesus asked us to do? Is that he created all of us, and God created all of us in his image and likeness. And when we can see each other as a child of God and nothing more, nothing less, it allows us to open our hearts to ensure that each person has the basic needs are met and are treated with dignity and respect, whether you're a unborn child or whether you're an elderly person, whether you're poor, whether you're rich, whether you're educated or whether you're not educated, is that being able to see each other and treat each other as Jesus would is what it feels to me in my heart. I read every pope has written on social justice, encyclicals on social justice, and I read every single one that I could get my hands on. And sometimes we think they're difficult to read, and if we try to read them all in one setting, they become very difficult. But I spent a year reading the different encyclicals. They're all very good, and they all build upon the previous pope's encyclical. But the one I spent the most time on is Pope Benedict's, and it's titled "God is Love." And it really took a complicated, in the world, trying to balance economies and caring for each other and social programs can get very complicated. But Pope Benedict just, for me, did an excellent job of just boiling it down to it starts with love and ends with love. And so it's, sometimes I would suggest to everyone is to try it. Try to take an encyclical on social justice by one of the popes, and if you don't know which one to pick, start with Pope Benedict. But every pope prior to them has an encyclical, and spend some time. I wish I could describe it in words, but the best way I can describe it is when you care enough to want to ensure that all people have the opportunity to be cared for, to be loved, and to be taken care of, whether you're in the jails, whether you're in a third world country, or whether you're the president of Walmart. It doesn't matter. In fact, one of the best things I've learned over the years, or have grown in, is what is joy. The people in Haiti, they don't have much. Their basic needs are barely taken care of, but they're a very joyful people. They trust that God will provide. They deal one day at a time. They laugh. I've laughed more in Haiti than I've probably laughed in my whole career at Walmart. I don't know really why I was born here in Arkansas and they were born in Haiti, but I think God has a plan for all of us. And we set out in our mission to provide for the educational needs of the people and to take care of them. But I think anybody who's involved in our mission would tell you that yes, we have done that. But the biggest gift that we've received from this mission is a gift that God gave to us, is giving us the opportunity to learn more about His love and His mercy, and to really know what He's asking us to do. So, from a spiritual formation standpoint, I think you would hear the same story from all of those involved in the ministry, is that what God has done for us is just amazing. And in the meantime, we were able to do some good works to help the people in Haiti. But the real goal of social justice and the mission of social justice is to grow closer to Christ. And I pray, and I know we all pray, that when we're with others and we're helping others, that we pray that they're able to see Christ in us. I can assure you that I can see Christ in the people of Haiti because of their dependence upon God, their trust in God, and the joy that they get. In fact, they're probably more blessed than the people here in Rogers, because they're not having to deal with the issues that we have to deal with here in the United States. It's trying to deal with the material things that are out there that can get in the way of growing closer to Christ. Trying to deal with the numerous opportunities that we have, and sometimes it causes us to, get lost in what God's asking us to do, and we get lost in seeking wealth or power or different pleasures. And I think all of us can remember growing up, we basically depended on our mom or our dad, and we didn't worry about all the things of the world. We just wanted to go outside and play and have fun. And I don't know, it's the simplicity of being a child. I compare that to the simplicity of life in Haiti. Is it hard? Yes, it's hard. What they deal with every day is much more than I've ever had to deal with in my life. But I'd have to, if I was honest with myself, they're a more joyful person than I am. And so that's so many blessings that I've received and people on the ministry team has received. And we have people that visit every year. We have people on prayer teams that pray for the people in Haiti, of which they also have in Haiti, where they pray for the people in Rogers. We have people that give financial support. We have people that donate school supplies, computers, just all different things. So, like I said earlier, there's hundreds of people in our parish involved with the ministry, and stick with it because of the blessings that we receive in addition to being able to help them.
Thank you for sharing that. Now, I want to take you back one last time. So you were talking about when you had the conversation with Monsignor about the need for ongoing support of this particular mission. And he said, Ronnie, you need to love the people in Haiti. When God puts something on your heart like that, and you know that you need to respond, how did you respond? And tell us what that was like.
Well, I was embarrassed when he was asking me, tell me about the people in Haiti. Who's the priest? Tell me about some of the people there. And I didn't know a single person that lived in Haiti. And so the first thing that Alan Kilgore and I talked about is it's impossible to love something you don't know. Just like our own family members or our spouses, we spend time getting to know them before we fall in love with them. Our relationship with God, we have to spend time with God to get to know them. So I knew there's no way I could really fall in love with somebody I didn't know unless I chose to go get to know the people. So it's really as simple as that. At that point in time, what was in my mind is I'm going to kill Father Sean for getting me involved in this.
I knew that was coming at some point.
I didn't have time for this. I was too busy at work, and thank God for my wife Sharon, who supported me during all that time and taking care of the kids. But the kids were all grown up and they had activities, and I did not want to do it, to be honest with you. And at that point, the only reason I did it is because I told Father Sean I would, and I wasn't happy about it. So that's what we did.
So did you travel down and visited the folks in Haiti?
Well, it's interesting. The very first thing I did is I called the priest there. And I said, what specifically do you need right now? And he told me, he goes, well, y'all promised that you would send me a generator so we would have some electricity here. And I've been waiting about 7 months, and it was my understanding that you already had the generator. All you need to do is ship it. And I thought, well, I don't know anything about a generator, but lo and behold, we did have a generator. It was sitting in our storage area in the church, and we didn't know how to ship it to Haiti, so we just kind of gave up. So that's the first thing I did. The very first week is I called several people, several freight companies, FedEx, and nobody delivers anything to the far western corner of Haiti, northwestern corner of Haiti. FedEx doesn't deliver there. There's no roads. There's no electricity. There's just no way to get anything there. And but this is how God provides. Is Father Cholet in Bombardopolis has a brother that lives in Miami that's a fisherman and has a fishing boat, relatively large. And so ultimately we ended up FedExing that generator to Miami, putting it on his fishing boat. It made it into Haiti, of which Customs got a hold of it. Ended up costing us like $300 to get Father Cholet's brother to get someone to receive it into the country. And then it was transported over a 2-week time period to Haiti. So I learned a lot from that. Is like, hey, it's not going to be easy. Nothing's going to be easy. Not even getting there was going to be easy. We flew into Port-au-Prince. There's no roads from at that time. There were no roads from Port-au-Prince to Bombardopolis, and that is about a 8-hour. It's only like 60 or 80 miles, something like that, but it's about a 6 to 8 hour drive. We took a mission plane to get a little bit closer from Port-au-Prince to Port-au-Paix. And then we had an old truck that Father Cholet had, and that was probably one of the most exciting experiences that I've ever had in Haiti, because we were driving through these mountainous areas, and we got to a river, and there was no way to get across the river, I thought. And then all of a sudden about 20 people came up to us and started walking through the river, guiding us to the high points of the river where we drove across the river. It took us about an hour, but we finally made it. In that river was the only way to cross to get to the western side. But in that river was where the people from the area got their drinking water. It's where the livestock came to drink water. It's where the people took their baths. So it was just seeing that gave me a glimpse of kind of what the people in Haiti were enduring. We then drove for the next 5 hours. The lug nuts on the back tire, it had 5 lug nuts on it. 4 broke off. We had 1 left, and Father stopped. He goes, "I'm sorry, I can't go anymore. We're going to have to wait on someone to come get us." He called Catholic Charities, and 3 hours later, they came and helped take us the rest of the way. We had a flat on the way there, and Monsignor David and I and Cindy Allgood and a couple of the others with us on the trip, we learned how to change a tire on their truck there, and so none of us knew what we were doing, so that was an adventure. We started, I think, at about 9 in the morning. We arrived in Bombardopolis at about 8 in the evening. It was about an 11-hour trip, and it was just to be able to see the terrain of Haiti and what they were up against. We were on top of a beautiful mountain, but one major issue there is because it was so mountainous, there's no water. And so that's probably the biggest issue that they were facing just for their basic needs is getting water. So that's kind of how we got there, and it didn't take long. You know, we visited, we walked throughout the villages. We went and visited every single school. We had the opportunity to get into some people's homes, take home communion, and it was easy to see, what their needs were. The people in Bombardopolis, 40,000 people, were solely dependent upon the Catholic Church. And the responsibility for that was carried on the shoulders of Father Soleil and some of the leaders in his parish. There were 3 nuns there that were assisting him in carrying out the ministry, but they looked, the people of Bombardopolis looked to the church for not just their education, but they looked to the church for health care. They looked for the church to provide medicines, of which during that trip we were able to bring a lot of medicines to them. They look to the church for their spiritual support, and it's interesting when you provide the basic needs to people, until they receive that, it's hard to really commit yourself to what God has in store for you, and that's kind of what Father Cholet's philosophy is I'll do everything that I can in my power to provide their basic needs of food, water, healthcare, education. And when I do that, then I'll share with them God's love, God's mercy, God's care, the message that God asked us to share. But I have to do that first. And so that's what we walked away from that first trip was. We, like I said, got to meet a lot of people. Still know many of those people and have developed relationships over the years, but we left there with a understanding of that this is the mission that Christ sent us on. This is the life of a disciple, and I remember coming back saying, "How can you share that with the people?" And we all did our best to do it, but one of the things that still sits with me today is you do not have to go to Haiti to do this. Yes, you can go to Haiti, and it's a wonderful experience. But there are people that need help here in Rogers, Arkansas, that are lonely, that are imprisoned, that are struggling, that don't know if they're going to be able to even stay here in the United States at this time. And there's so many people that we can help that we just have to go into our backyard. One of the ministries I was working on as I was preparing to discern in the diaconate is doing a little bit of work in the nursing homes, and I was very uncomfortable in the nursing homes up to this point. Didn't know what to say, didn't know how to talk to people. Sometimes just the smell of the place was difficult for me. But I spent a lot of time, I was very touched by the nursing home that Father Cholet had put in Bombardopolis, and there was like 14 people there, and I watched him as he would hold their hand, and he didn't say much to them, but he held their hand and he would kiss them on the forehead, and he would just say some things, and he would laugh, but it wasn't what he said. It was the fact that he was present with them that made all the difference. It just changed their faces would just light up, and so I was able to take that, and now for many years since then, I've visited nursing homes and hospice, volunteer with hospice, and I still use what I learned there is I just try to be present and really care. It doesn't really matter what I say. Sometimes we talk a lot, sometimes we don't say anything, but we can be present to each other, and like I said before, and I can see Christ in them, and I pray they can see Christ in me. So, I don't remember the question, Tom, I'm sorry, but there's so many blessings that God provides to us, and hopefully somewhere in there I answered the question you had.
Yeah. No, I was asking you about your love for the people of Haiti, and I think you described that very well. What plans do you and your team have going forward?
Well, 11 years later, we now, through those 11 years, we were able to add 7th through 12th grade, actually 13 grades is what they have in Haiti. We built a high school, middle school and high school through the generosity of several people here at St. Vincent de Paul. And so last May, a group of us were blessed to be able to attend the first graduation at St. Francis of Assisi High School in Bombardopolis. There were 16 students who were able to make it all the way through the 13th grade and graduate to, in fact, the second highest score on the government test was by a student at our high school within Haiti. And of those 16 graduates, we were blessed by the charity of the parishioners here to give 4 of those students 4-year scholarships to go on to college. And so, some people say, well, what about the ones that don't get to go to college, and where are the jobs that they have? And there's, and those are very good questions, and sometimes they get difficult to respond to because Bombardopolis is still a very poor village, and there are not jobs. There's not industry there. They are starting to get utilities. They're starting the process of building some roads. They're all dirt roads outside of Bombardopolis. There's a small concrete road in Bombardopolis but we've been able to put in solar panels to get electricity. There's a project from a group, I think it's from Czechoslovakia, I can't remember where, that they're putting in meters to where you can actually purchase electricity from huge solar panels that they're providing for the area. But there's farms. They're able to farm, and oftentimes due to lack of water, they're not able to produce the type of crops to create any income. But it does allow them to just sustain their families. And so, I don't know what's next for a lot of people, and I don't. I look at this as I don't think God's asking us to end poverty in the world, but He's asking us to do what we can to care for the people, and I think that's where we stand with that, is we have to trust that God's going to provide, and I know they trust, but sometimes even within our own ministry group, we labor over that question, what's next for the people? Our goal is to create jobs. We've had a bakery operating to generate bread. We have a sewing school and provide sewing machines for them to at least make their own uniforms. And also, in fact, they made the graduation gowns and tuxedos for the 16 graduates, which were incredible. That was just a wonderful experience. The whole town, the village showed up for that graduation. We had an incredible feast. They cooked for 3 or 4 days while we were there before the graduation, and I'm sure before that also preparing for that. The church was overflowing for the graduation mass. So what's next? God knows what's next. We know that the needs are still there. We know that it has improved dramatically. The conditions in Bombardopolis have improved dramatically over the last 11 years. People are not dying from hunger. People are not dying from lack of water. We have been able to work with a group out of Czechoslovakia to dig. We have 4 functioning wells right now where they get water for during the dry season. Cisterns every building we've built there, the cisterns have been attached to that. In addition, there's been a Baptist church out of Springfield that have been there the last 3 or 4 years, and they've built over 500 cisterns on people's homes. So water, although it's still an issue there during the dry times, they're able to sustain life during that time. food through Catholic Charities and also through the different contributions that we make. Is every child receives at least one meal every day when they're at school, and usually rice and beans, sometimes a little bit different than that, but most of the times rice and beans. So that's provided at each one of the schools. There's a police department there. There's not much crime there at all. They have one small jail room. I've never seen anybody in it. There's one police officer. People in Bombardopolis kind of take care of each other. If somebody does steal something from something, they kind of take care of it themselves. I don't know exactly how, but there's just not much crime there. They do have a market that comes in there once a week now that provides opportunity to purchase shoes, additional food, candy, just what we would see here. So they're making some progress. There's a lot of hope there. We've Bob DeFore, who has worked tirelessly on this ministry, he'll be going there in March with a group of 6 people, and his focus is on creating jobs, creating a way for the people there to provide for themselves. And he's meeting with, I think, the bishop and the Diocese of Porta Pay while he's there. And he has an idea of making jewelry there and how then that can be not only sold within Haiti, but possibly exported out. And he's got a lot of experience in that from his days at Walmart. So, I don't know what the future holds, except that I trust that God will guide us, and I trust that we will grow closer to Christ as we continue our mission, and as will the people of Bombardopolis.
Okay. So, listener out there is motivated by your witness here, and they wanted to get involved, or maybe they want to network with you about a mission idea that they have. What's the best way to get involved in this or get a hold of you?
Well, we do have a formal ministry team, and our responsibilities are, one, is to ensure that all the financial support that we send to St. Francis of Assisi and Bombardopolis gets used in the manner of which we approved it to be used for. And so we have an oversight responsibility that we review that 4 times a year, and then we do a complete audit of the money that we sent and how it was spent when we make our trip once a year. So one way is to join the ministry team. It's probably one of the easiest ministries in the church as it relates to meetings. Like I said, we only meet 4 times a year. It's usually an hour and a half each meeting. So you can contact me here at the church, and I can certainly walk you through what the responsibilities are of being on the ministry team. One is, of course, to attend those meetings and take on the responsibility for the financial oversight. The second responsibility is to actually make a trip to get to know the people of Haiti at least once during your 2-year service. We ask a minimum of a 2-year commitment. I will tell you that almost every single member started saying I'd make a 2-year commitment, and I don't know of a member who did not continue to this day. So you get to know the people, and you see that it's not a lot of administrative and meeting type time, and so you're willing to commit a little bit for the people of Haiti. A third responsibility that you have if you want to be on the ministry team is to learn the social justice teachings of the church. You'll be given the book God is Love from Pope Benedict, and you'll be asked once a year to take one ministry of the church or in the workplace or with your own family is present and to them what you know about the church's teachings on social justice. And so we ask that each of the ministry members not only understand in a deeper way themselves, but to share it to at least one group. And then the final responsibility that you have is once a year, we do an annual appeal here at St. Vincent de Paul for financial support to provide for the different aid that we give to the people of Bombardopolis. And it's in fact it's coming in just a few weeks. The first weekend of March. I can't remember what the dates are, 5th and 6th, 3rd and 4th, something. But it's first weekend of March. We will, at all of our masses, we will ask people to contribute to this ministry financially. We will also ask people to join the ministry at that time, and you'll have a place to sign up for that. As a part of that annual appeal, this is probably the hardest thing we have to do as far as time. Is we're asked to be here for that weekend at all the different masses to be able to talk to the people about what's going on in Haiti, to be able to set up all the displays. We'll have a replica of the actual St. Francis of Assisi Church. Replica will be displayed inside of our church, and so getting that all set up. And then what we try to do is be able to explain the progress and the joy and the struggles of the people in Haiti through displays, through photographs and storyboards. And so our complete gathering space will be set up trying to share the message. And, I hate asking people for money, but it doesn't bother me at all to ask people to experience what the ministry that we do in Haiti is. Your money goes a long way, but just as important as your money is that when we sacrifice a little of ourselves, it opens up our hearts to care in a deeper way, to love in a deeper way, and hopefully through our stories that you'll experience over that weekend, that you'll come to share just a piece of that, and hopefully enough that you'll want to join the ministry team and experience it in a deeper level. There's no substitute to, like Monsignor said, to get to know the people, fall in love with the people. When you fall in love with the people, you're not embarrassed or afraid or fearful of asking people to help. And I think that's what it has to offer to you. And, I'd certainly love to have every one of our parishioners or anyone outside. We have people that don't even belong to our parish that have joined our ministry. We have a relationship with NWAC through a professor over there that we do an event there every year, and a few of the ministry people join. But all of us have our own members that are active members on the ministry team, have our own area of interest, and we're able to run with that. And I mentioned earlier, Bob DeFore, his interest is creating commerce, and he's done a lot of work on that. Prior to that, he's the one that brought to life the computer lab there at Bombardopolis. Bombardopolis has probably one of the best computer labs in the whole western part of Haiti, in a place where there's no electricity, no internet service, but with cell phones and with solar panels, and through the generosity of companies here in Rogers who donated the computers, we have a functioning computer lab that the high school students are able to use, as are the priests and nuns, and some of the members of the community. So whatever your area of interest is, we all kind of pick something we're interested in, and then we do what we can to bring that to life there in Bombardopolis. So, you can always call me if you're interested, and I'll walk you through the responsibilities. I always ask people to read the book first. This is not a ministry like some of the ministries that I know I go out and beg people to be a part of. Monsignor didn't beg me to be a part of it. He asked me to determine if this is what God was asking me to do. And I hope to pass on that same approach to you, is that there's different ways that we can help. And one of the ways is being an active member of the Haiti ministry team. Well,
very good. And we will include the contact information in the show notes here. Okay. So, Ronnie, thank you so much for joining us today. And we thank you all for tuning in to Wonderful Life. Remember,
The only things that you can take with you is that which you give away. This is Tom Rohr, the richest man in town, signing off till next time.
This is the Padua Podcast Network. PaduaMedia.com.